Have you ever wondered if the stars above you are actually alive? What if every glowing point in the night sky had a story unfolding? Imagine looking up and realizing you are witnessing countless cosmic lifetimes simultaneously. Each star you see might already be gone, yet its light still travels. Isn't it strange that the universe lets us see ghosts made of light? Right now, above your head, stars are being born in silent explosions. At the same time, others are dying in ways beyond human imagination. What if I told you stars live lives just like living beings do? They are born, they evolve, and eventually they meet dramatic endings. But unlike humans, their lives stretch across millions or billions of years. Their beginnings are chaotic, their lives are balanced, and their deaths reshape everything. Every atom inside your body was once forged in a dying star. Yes, even the iron in your blood has a cosmic origin story. So when you look at the stars, you are seeing your own past. Does that make you feel small, or does it make you feel connected? Because the truth is both humbling and incredibly powerful at once. The universe is not distant. It is deeply personal in unexpected ways. Stars are not just decorations scattered across the sky at night. They are engines of creation, destruction, and transformation across cosmic time. And their stories are far more dramatic than any human narrative imagined. From quiet beginnings to explosive finales, their journeys shape entire galaxies. But here's the question that changes everything about how you see them. What determines whether a star lives peacefully or dies violently? Why do some stars fade quietly, while others explode with unimaginable force? And how does this entire process connect back to your own existence? To understand that, we must go back to the very beginning. We must travel to a place where stars do not yet exist. A place filled with cold, dark clouds drifting silently through space. It is here that every star you have ever seen begins. And what happens next is both beautiful and surprisingly violent, because even creation in the universe requires immense pressure and chaos. Nothing simply appears. Everything is shaped through struggle and transformation. So imagine a massive cloud of gas slowly collapsing under its own gravity. Within that collapse, something extraordinary starts to take form. Tiny particles begin to gather, collide, and create intense heat. The darkness begins to glow, faintly at first, then increasingly brighter. This is the moment when a star is about to be born. But birth in the cosmos is not gentle or peaceful at all. It is turbulent, energetic, and filled with powerful forces clashing together. And yet, from this chaos, something stable and radiant will emerge. Isn't it fascinating how even the universe builds beauty from disorder? This is only the beginning of a journey that spans unimaginable time. A journey that transforms simple gas into blazing cosmic giants. And a journey that ultimately leads to endings as powerful as beginnings. But before we witness those endings, we must understand their lives. Because what a star becomes depends entirely on how it begins. Its mass, its environment, and its formation shape everything that follows. And that means not all stars share the same destiny at all. Some will shine steadily for billions of years without much change. Others will burn intensely and live fast, dramatic, and shorter lives. Each one carries a different story written in nuclear fire. And every story starts with that same mysterious cosmic nursery. So stay with me, because we are just getting started. The life cycle of a star is more than science. It is a revelation, and by the end, you may never look at the night sky the same. Deep within those cold clouds, gravity continues pulling matter closer together relentlessly. As the cloud contracts, temperature and pressure begin rising to extraordinary levels. Eventually, a dense core forms at the center of this collapsing region. This core is called a protostar, the earliest stage of stellar life. It is not yet a true star, but it is rapidly evolving toward one. Energy builds within as particles collide faster and more frequently than before. The surrounding material forms a swirling disk, feeding the growing protostar continuously. This stage can last for millions of years before ignition finally occurs. Then, something incredible happens deep within the core of the protostar. Hydrogen atoms begin fusing together to form helium under extreme pressure. This process releases enormous amounts of energy in the form of light. At that moment, a true star is officially born into existence. It enters what scientists call the main sequence phase of its life. This is the longest and most stable period in a star's life cycle. During this phase, the star maintains a delica. Deep within those cold cosmic clouds, gravity keeps pulling matter closer together. As the cloud shrinks, temperature rises and pressure builds to extreme levels. At the center, a dense region begins forming, growing hotter with every moment. This growing core is known as a protostar, the earliest stage of development. It is not yet shining fully, but energy is building rapidly inside it. Gas and dust spiral inward, feeding the protostar like fuel feeding a fire. Over time, collisions between particles become faster and far more intense. Heat continues increasing until something extraordinary finally begins to happen. Hydrogen atoms start fusing together under immense pressure and temperature conditions. This nuclear fusion releases energy in the form of powerful light and heat. At that exact moment, a star is officially born into the universe. It begins shining steadily, marking the start of its main sequence phase. This phase is the longest and most stable part of a star's life. During this time, the star maintains a careful balance between two forces. Gravity pulls inward, while energy from fusion pushes outward continuously. This balance keeps the star stable, preventing it from collapsing or exploding. Our Sun is a perfect example of a main sequence star today. It has been shining consistently for billions of years without major disruption. But even this stability hides a slow and continuous internal change. Hydrogen fuel inside the core is gradually being used up over time. As fuel decreases, the core begins to contract and heat increases again. This shift marks the beginning of a new and transformative phase. The outer layers of the star begin expanding outward dramatically. The star grows larger and cooler on the surface, becoming a red giant. This stage is far more unstable and dynamic than the previous one. Brightness increases, and the star's structure becomes more complex and fragile. Nearby planets may be swallowed as the star expands outward significantly. Even our own planet could face this fate in the distant future. So what seems stable today is only temporary in the larger timeline. Stars are constantly evolving, even when changes are not immediately visible. Inside the core, new fusion processes begin involving heavier elements. Helium atoms fuse into carbon, releasing even more energy than before. In larger stars, even heavier elements begin forming deep inside cores. This process turns stars into factories creating essential elements for existence. Carbon, oxygen, and other elements are produced through these nuclear reactions. These elements are critical for forming planets, atmospheres, and living organisms. So every star contributes something valuable to the universe during its lifetime. It is not just shining. It is actively shaping future possibilities everywhere. But this process cannot continue forever, no matter the star's size. Fuel will eventually run out, and balance will begin breaking down. When that happens, the star must enter the next phase of its journey. And that phase depends entirely on how massive the star is originally. Smaller stars take a slower, gentler path toward their eventual endings. Larger stars move quickly and experience much more dramatic transformations. Their lives are shorter, but far more intense and energetic overall. Every star follows its own path, shaped by its initial conditions. No two stellar journeys are exactly the same across the universe, yet all of them follow the same fundamental principles of physics. Creation, balance, transformation, and eventual change define every stellar life. And within that process lies something deeply meaningful for us as well, because the same elements formed in these stars exist within your body. You are connected to these processes in ways you might not expect. Your existence is tied to the life cycles of distant stars, and understanding that connection changes how you see everything around you, because the story of a star is also, in a way, your story. Here's where everything you thought you understood begins to completely change. A star's death is not an ending, it is a powerful new beginning. That idea sounds strange, but it is one of the universe's deepest truths. Without the death of stars, nothing complex would exist anywhere at all. When a star runs out of fuel, its balance begins collapsing rapidly inward. Gravity takes over as fusion slows and the core starts shrinking intensely. What happens next depends entirely on the star's original mass and structure. Smaller stars follow a quieter, more graceful path toward their final stage. They expand into red giants, shedding outer layers into space slowly. These layers form glowing clouds known as planetary nebulae in space. At the center, a dense core remains called a white dwarf. This remnant slowly cools, fading over billions of years into darkness. It is a calm ending, almost peaceful compared to other stellar deaths. But massive stars experience something far more violent and dramatic. Their cores collapse suddenly, triggering one of the universe's biggest explosions. This explosion is known as a supernova, and it releases immense energy. For a brief time, one star can outshine an entire galaxy. But the explosion itself is not the most important part of this process. The real significance lies in what is created during that explosion. Supernovae generate heavy elements that cannot form under normal conditions. Elements like gold, iron, and uranium are forged in those final moments. Then those elements are scattered across space at incredible speeds. They mix with gas and dust, enriching future star-forming regions. From that enriched material, new stars and planets eventually begin forming. And those planets may one day support life in various forms. This means your existence depends on stars that died billions of years ago. Every atom in your body has a history older than Earth itself. Many of those atoms were created in ancient stellar explosions long ago. So in a very real sense, you are made of star remnants. You are not separate from the universe. You are part of its evolution. This realization completely changes how we think about life and death. Because in the universe, endings are necessary for new beginnings to occur. Nothing truly disappears. It transforms into something new over time. But the story becomes even more fascinating after the explosion ends. What remains at the core depends on how massive the star was. If the remaining mass is moderate, it forms a neutron star. These objects are incredibly dense, with extreme gravity and rapid rotation. They can emit powerful beams of radiation across vast distances in space. But if the core is even more massive, something extraordinary happens. It collapses further into a black hole, bending space and time itself. Not even light can escape from the gravitational pull of a black hole. These objects remain some of the most mysterious phenomena in the universe. And yet, they are natural results of how massive stars evolve and die. So from one ending, we get neutron stars, black holes, and new elements. That is an incredible transformation from a single moment of collapse. It shows how powerful change can be when energy and matter interact. The universe constantly recycles itself through cycles of creation and destruction. This pattern exists everywhere, not just in distant galaxies and stars. It exists in ecosystems, in societies, and even within your own life. Sometimes, what feels like an ending is actually a transformation beginning. Sometimes, Loss is simply the process of becoming something entirely new. Stars show us that destruction can create opportunities for future growth. Without supernovae, the universe would remain simple and lifeless forever. So every ending carries the potential for something extraordinary to follow, and that is the twist that changes everything about how we see existence. Now that you understand the journey of stars, everything begins feeling different. You are not just observing the universe, you are deeply connected to it. Every atom within your body has traveled across billions of years of time. They were created in stars, shaped by explosions and scattered across space, and somehow those same atoms came together to form you today. That realization alone is powerful enough to shift your entire perspective. It means you are not separate from the universe's story unfolding. You are a living continuation of processes that began long before Earth existed. Stars lived, died, and transformed so that you could exist right now. So your presence here is not random, it is part of a larger process. But what you choose to do with this awareness truly defines its value. Will you ignore this connection, or will you embrace it fully? Because understanding your origin can influence how you approach your future. Stars do not resist change. They evolve naturally through each phase. They transition from one stage to another without hesitation or fear. And maybe there is something important we can learn from that behavior. Life is not meant to remain fixed. It is meant to evolve constantly. Growth requires change, even when that change feels uncomfortable or uncertain. Just like stars expand, contract, and transform, we experience phases too. Some phases feel stable, while others feel chaotic and overwhelming. But each phase has a purpose in shaping your overall journey. Even difficult moments can contribute to your growth and transformation. Instead of fearing change, try understanding what it is teaching you, because every ending in your life may lead to a new beginning. Just like stellar explosions create the building blocks for future worlds, this perspective does not remove challenges, but it gives them meaning, and meaning gives you strength to keep moving forward with purpose. So the next time you look at the night sky, pause for a moment. Remember that those stars are not just distant lights in darkness. They are part of a cycle that includes your own existence as well. A cycle of creation, balance, destruction, and renewal across time. And you are one small but meaningful part of that vast story. But your role is unique, shaped by choices only you can make. So what kind of impact do you want to create in your lifetime? What kind of story do you want your life to represent? Because even small actions can create ripples far beyond your imagination. Just like tiny particles come together to form massive, powerful stars. Everything begins somewhere, even the most extraordinary transformations imaginable. So never underestimate the potential within you to grow and evolve. You are capable of change, just like the stars you admire above. But growth requires awareness, intention, and a willingness to move forward. It requires letting go of what no longer serves your journey and embracing what challenges you to become something greater than before. The universe is constantly expanding, and so are your possibilities within it. You are not limited by where you started or past experiences you faced. Like stars, you have the power to transform into something extraordinary, but that transformation begins with a decision you must make today. Will you stay where you are, or will you choose to evolve? Because the universe does not stay still, and neither should you. Everything is moving, growing, and becoming something new over time. So take that step forward, even if it feels uncertain right now. Trust that change is part of a much bigger process unfolding. And remember, your journey is just as meaningful as any star's life. So step forward with purpose and let your story shine brightly.